But we are delighted to have Congressman Trent from Arizona. Again, it's so much a blessing to be here with such heroes of faith and religious freedom. Congressman Franks, welcome.
Thank you. Well, I want you to know it's really my honor to be here with all of you today. I see so many people that I've watched come to groups across this city and across really the nation that stand for the freedom of and the dignity of humankind. And I would just suggest to you that this morning we are very blessed just to be able to stand here. I think probably the most sacred place in Washington, D.C. is to go out to Arlington National Cemetery and you see rows and rows of crosses and the Stars of David over those graves. And you become just a little aware that they died in darkness, many of them, so that we could stand here in the light of freedom today and speak to the core foundation of what freedom really is. And I truly believe that religious freedom is the foundation of all other freedoms, and that if we lose that we fail not only the test of our generation, the test of our time, but we throw away the greatest republic and the greatest hope for freedom among men that the world has ever known. I think it was, and I'll paraphrase, a Scottish statesman that said, out of deep religious conviction, deep religious faith, comes great courage. And courage leads ultimately to freedom. And freedom leads to abundance. And abundance leads to apathy. And apathy leads to dependence. And dependence leads back to bondage. And I would suggest to you that we are in that moment, in that sequence of events, when we still have abundance and we still have a measure of freedom. And it is incumbent upon us to do as we are doing here today, to stand for the cause of freedom. And I just want to give us the sincerest note of gratitude to the Priests for Life. Yes. Because, you know, they could have just rolled over. So oftentimes the left here today is saying, well, you can practice your faith as long as you do it behind the doors of your church, as long as you don't come out into the public square and actually practice your faith, as long as we don't have to look at you, you can just stay in your church and do what you want. Well, I have to say to you, that's what they do in Saudi Arabia, folks. That's the order of the day in Saudi Arabia. And we have to recognize that the Founding Fathers and all those lying out in Arlington National Cemetery gave us a gift that is beyond our comprehension. And we have a responsibility to defend it here today and for future generations. Now, I don't want to talk about my 5-year-old twins, but I will tell you there's no one that I'm here more than them, because I always cry when I do incidentally. But I'm reminded that it's not just about us, it's about coming generations, and not to continue to reference those who died. But let me suggest to you, they look to future generations. And that's why we are the most blessed generation probably in the history of the human family. And it is so incumbent upon us. So I leave you with this, just to beseech you to continue to do what you're doing, because as long as freedom and the love for freedom lives in our hearts, there is still hope for America. And I would suggest to you that those that would disinvite God from the public square, they forget that the real foundation for respect and love for each other is our love for our Creator, our respect for Him. And if we fail to do that as a country and as a nation, as a people, then what else is really worth living for? And I have the privilege of being the chairman of the Constitution Subcommittee, and one of my favorite quotes is the one I leave with you. It was one Daniel Webster said, who was on that committee many years ago. He said, "Hold on, my friends, to the Constitution and to the republic for which it stands. For miracles," he called America a miracle, "miracles do not cluster. And what has happened once in 6,000 years may never happen again. So hold on to the Constitution, for if the American Constitution should fall, there will be anarchy throughout the world." Wow. And I would suggest to you, ladies and gentlemen, if there's any foundation for our freedoms, if there's any foundation in the United States Constitution, it is our right and our ability to freely worship and to honor God both behind our church doors and be in the public square and on the sidewalks of Washington, D.C. today. God bless you.